PSN has started their sales for Black Friday week, so if you're more of a digital consumer, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at 15 amazing Black Friday deals available on PSN right now. As I mentioned, these 15 deals are available right now, so let's get right into this. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection for $8. Uncharted is one of the most iconic PlayStation franchises ever. Naughty Dog just did a great job with them, and if you've yet to somehow not play the games, then the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection is for you. This includes Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and you get the typical collection improvements, including better visuals, better technical performance, etc. All three games are still very good, with Uncharted 1 being a little bit dated, but Uncharted 2 and 3 are still fantastic games. And for just $8, Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection is a bargain.
That's just a little historical research.
Don't tell me you're buying into all that supernatural nonsense.
You love all this as much as I do.
No.
Hey, these guys are playing for keeps, yeah?
Injustice 2 for $20. Injustice 2 is arguably the best fighting game of this generation. You've got all of the superheroes that add a lot of aesthetical appeal to the game, but then you've also got the core mechanics, which are very solid, and it offers a variety of different gameplay styles. If you want to get really good at the game and get competitive, you can play it like that. However, if you also just want a casual fighter with a really solid single-player component, Injustice 2 has you covered on that as well. At $20, it's still a little bit pricey, but keep in mind Injustice 2 just released earlier this year, so it is a very good price.
Cannot stop. How do I beat him? You can't. Earth's time is up.
Valkyria Chronicles Remastered for $13. Valkyria Chronicles is one of the best JRPGs of the last decade. It is an exceptionally well-made strategy JRPG. It originally released back on the PlayStation 3, and while the critical acclaim was there, it never really saw commercial success. However, the game released onto PC and it sold well over there, and then it came over to the PlayStation 4 in the form of Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, and once again, it received rave reviews. If you're a fan of strategy RPGs, Valkyria Chronicles is going to be right up your alley, and for just $13, this is a great pickup for a game that a lot of you guys probably missed out on.
Under threat, but not surprised. Entering combat.
Final Fantasy 15 for $20. Final Fantasy 15 was one of the long-awaited games this generation. The game was originally announced back in 2006, and it saw many different transformations. Even as far as a name change, it was announced as Final Fantasy Versus 13, and then it came to be known as Final Fantasy 15. And with such a long wait that Final Fantasy 15 had, it's hard to live up to those expectations. And I think many would say that Final Fantasy 15 did fall a little bit short. However, it's still a really good open-world RPG that really only struggles from a storytelling perspective. If you go into this game wanting an open world RPG with great combat and great visuals, Final Fantasy 15 is gonna have you covered. It's only $20, and the premium edition that includes the season pass is available for $30, and I have to add that the DLC is very good, so maybe take a look at that.
To question your call.
Noctis' friend Prompto is the life and soul of the team. Fast friends with Noctis since they met as teenagers, Prompto is a young man of common birth who finds himself out of his depth when tragedy befalls Lucis.
We go back to Insomnia.
Might not be safe for us there.
Might not be safe for us here.
Although he's the weakest and youngest member of the team.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition for $20. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt to me is the perfect single-player experience. It does everything a single-player experience can do exceptionally well. You've got the amazing visuals, you've got an excellent story, solid gameplay, a lot of content in a big and vast open world. There's very little negative you can say about The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and that's why it's known as one of the best games of this generation, if not the best. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition also includes both expansions, so that's gonna add even more content, and for just $20, it is an absolute steal.
Armies have swept through it several times. Famine grips the populace.
You a Witcher? That monster slayer that he's talking about in the village?
Got monster trouble?
We're not having trouble. We're up shit fucking creek.
The Evil Within 2. The Evil Within is quickly becoming one of the best survival horror franchises available today. Many games have lost that art of survival horror and capturing that essence, but The Evil Within did a really good job of that, and The Evil Within 2 builds upon the first game, and it's a better game. It's got really solid visuals, and it's a very atmospheric game. For just $30, considering this game released about a month ago, that's a great price.
This entertainments must come to an end.
Enough art school bullshit! Where is she?
We have the same goal, Sebastian. We can help each other.
Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus for $30. Speaking of recently released sequels, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus is another one of them, and it's the follow-up to Wolfenstein The New Order, which was a fantastic single-player first-person shooter. And once again, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, a fantastic single-player first-person shooter, and you get a solidly length campaign that's gonna take you around 10 to 12 hours to complete, and it's got a great story that gets a little bit zany towards the end, but the gameplay is as great as ever. Some of the best gameplay you'll find in a first-person shooter, and once again, considering that this game is a very recent release, for $30, it's a very solid pickup. Prey for $20. Prey was probably one of the most underrated games of 2017. It was a reboot and a reimagining of that 2006 Prey title, but don't even worry about that game. This is its own new entry developed by Arcane Studios. And Arcane did a great job with the game. It's a single-player first-person shooter, but the game does open up to you in a Metroidvania style. Once you gain more abilities and acquire items, the game starts opening up more and more to you, and it becomes a really robust and atmospheric experience. $20 is a great price for the game, and it's another game that a lot of you guys probably missed out on. Make sure you check it out.
Warning, this is a station-wide emergency. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We can fight the invasion. If I can't save us, I'm taking every last one of them with me.
Middle-earth: Shadow of War for $36. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor was considered by many to be one of the first truly great games of this generation, and Middle-earth: Shadow of War is the sequel. It does a lot of the same from Shadow of Mordor, but enhances the overall experience, more content, a bigger world, what you would expect out of a sequel. There's not much you could really say about Shadow of War other than that it's a really well-made sequel that unfortunately did see a lot of criticism with its microtransactions, and that's definitely justifiable. However, at the foundation of Shadow of War, you'll still find a very well-made game, and for $36, it's a really good pickup.
But yeah, like, shut up, Ryan, about this action. Oh god, we're poisoned. So Talion obviously has a lot more, you know, various weapons, various tools, and at his disposal.
That's what gives you the bow and arrow ability there, yeah.
Including the giant hulking beasts that we can ride. Oh my gosh.
This is so cool.
Ah, hello!
Befriend him.
Yakuza Zero for $30. Yakuza is probably one of the more underrated franchises in all of gaming, but Sega has done a really good job of recently releasing more of the Yakuza titles over here in the States. Yakuza Zero released earlier this year, and it serves as a prequel to the Yakuza franchise, and it's a great game. Many will draw comparisons to Grand Theft Auto, but it's definitely different than that. It's a little bit more story-driven, it's got a very mature story, and the main character is extremely engaging, and the content you'll find in Yakuza Zero is very diverse, and it always keeps the game relatively engaging. $30 is a little bit steep for a game that released in the beginning of the year, but it's very much worth it. It's an excellent game, and another one a lot of you guys probably missed out on. Horizon Zero Dawn for $20. Horizon Zero Dawn was the latest game from Guerrilla Games, one of Sony's ace studios and the guys that are most known for their work on the Killzone titles. However, they decided to put that on the back burner for the time being to work on Horizon Zero Dawn, a post-apocalyptic open-world action RPG set in a world dominated by mech-like creatures. It's a very interesting premise, and Guerrilla has set the foundation for what could be one of Sony's biggest IPs. What you'll find in Horizon Zero Dawn, right away you'll notice the amazing visuals. This is one of the best looking console games ever, and outside of that you have a really interesting story and very unique gameplay. And for just $20, if you own a PlayStation 4, this is one of the essential exclusives that have to be in your library.
Create flames.
She can also use weaponry that she shoots off of the machines. And obviously she's got her wide variety of bows. And these bows have different ammo types, like explosives, or you can set them on fire, or you can stun them with electricity. If you focus scan an enemy, you can see what kind of weaknesses they have. Then you can mix and match that with the weapon.
Yakuza Kiwami for $20. We mentioned Yakuza earlier on in this list, but Yakuza Kiwami was another game released this year, and it's a remake of the very first Yakuza game, so this is also a very solid entry point. It does show a little bit of its age, so it's not the best looking game in the world, but it still retains everything that makes Yakuza great. And this is where the series really started off. Personally, I would recommend to check out Yakuza Zero first, since that's more of a modern experience. And then if you really enjoy that, make sure you give Yakuza Kiwami a look. For $20, it's a solid pickup. Nier Automata for $36. Nier Automata was one of the more surprising video game follow-ups this generation. The first Nier title was very good, however it definitely had its issues and it didn't find major commercial success, but nonetheless Square Enix decided to put out another game in the Nier franchise titled Nier Automata, and don't worry about playing the first game, you can jump right into Automata and have a great time. And the game was developed by Platinum, who are known for some of the best action games, and that was one of the main issues with Nier, the fact that its gameplay was a little lackluster, but that is not an issue at all with Nier Automata. You'll find some excellent gameplay, and all of the elements that were quality in the first Nier game are retained, including the excellent storytelling, great music, great art direction. That's all here in Automata. $36 is relatively pricey, but it's a game that's definitely worth its cost of admission. Persona 5 for $30. There's a reason why many consider Persona 5 to be the best Japanese RPG of all time. That is not hyperbole, that is how good of a game Persona 5 is. Persona has always been a franchise that's been more on the niche side. Those that play it know how good it is, but it never saw mainstream appeal. Persona 5 seemingly changed that a little bit because this game blew up due to its quality. This is a game that just thrived on being an amazing experience, and that's how it found its success. You've got the amazing art direction, the excellent turn-based gameplay, an awesome soundtrack, and varied gameplay due to the high school element of the game. Sure, at first it sounds a little bit weird, but I'm telling you, Persona 5 is one of the best games you'll find, and if you own a PlayStation 4, it's an absolute must-own title. And even with it being $30, sure, that's a little bit more expensive than some of the games on this list, but coming from someone that played Persona 5, I can tell you for $30, that is absolutely nothing for what quality of a game you're getting.
Allow me to observe the path of your rehabilitation. Gather personas and bring them here. Execute them and continue to give birth to even stronger personas. The world is not as it should be.
And finally, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy for $20. Naughty Dog closed the story of Nathan Drake with Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, but the experience wasn't over just yet. This year, they put out the standalone expansion to Uncharted 4, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, that centers around two other characters, namely Chloe Fraser and Nadine Ross. It's more of your Uncharted experience. It doesn't revolutionize in any way, but given how critically acclaimed Uncharted is and how much everybody loves Uncharted, that's absolutely fine. More Uncharted 4 is a good thing, and more of that that at a budget price can definitely be appreciated. If somehow Uncharted hasn't won you over yet, The Lost Legacy isn't going to do anything different, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are fans of Uncharted, and if you've yet to check out The Lost Legacy, you should definitely do so. $20 is a pretty good price.
Starting with you.
Razor! Let's go get our disc. And some guns. And some guns. Sorry, mate. What took you so long?
So that wraps up 15 amazing PS4 game deals available on PSN right now. Let us know if you picked any of these up. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.